Hi everyone, this is Mr. Khan from Sleepy Taves, Naimullah from Pakistan. Actually, today some friends of mine asked me about virtualization and how they can protect their applications from noob level reversers. So we are going to talk about it in detail tonight before I go to sleep. Maybe it will help some guys. You can freely distribute this video to anybody, any friends or any servers you like. I don't care. This is good that this information is spread to everyone. Please protect your applications so that people do not get it, and do not post it in public places so that the information is not patched in the coming updates of PUBG. So I have created this private bypass. You guys already have it. Let's open it with ILSpy or DNSpy. I have already kept it open here. So if you go to the application and you browse the main function, there are functions inside that are completely exposed. As I have been using a compression library, Costura, you see it that it is here. The application will give you, if you open it normally, if you somehow get the unprotected source from somewhere, which I'm not sure, you will get this type of warnings because the if you go to assembly load log, because the Costura has compressed the libraries inside the exe, you will see things like this that could not find reference to this, could not find reference to this, could not find reference to this. So this and these information doesn't mean that the application is already virtualized. No, the warning has multiple meanings. If you go to log and see it, you will know what it means, but in the actual file you see that some of the functions are already locked. Things like this you cannot see what's happening inside. Okay, some functions will load and some will not load. Anyhow, we are looking at a function here. Let's say this is a waiter function. Let's say this waits for the uh, Android application to start. So you see, as the strings are compressed, not everything is clear cut. You will see that some things are here are kind of obfuscated somehow, not properly. So the code is already exposed and it is uh, a single executable file, so it is a bit hard to reverse in this form also. But people, if some guys are dedicated, they can reverse this one too. Mind it that it is not yet protected, but it is already complex for people to get the clear idea. So let's protect this executable. I will keep it here with private bypass for reference so that we can see it later. Let's fire up our debugger, sorry, the packer VM protect. I have it here in debugger folder, VM protect, this one. Okay, I have fired up the application. And now we are going to provide it here. Which directory it was? It was the debug directory. Let's open it from here. Let's provide it here. So you see, I already saved this function because I protected it already, but let's remove all the functions which delete. It's gonna take some time. Alright, the functions are removed now. So you will see the interface like this when you start VM protect and add your file to this. So go to add functions. Now there are multiple functions here, a multitude of functions already here. So people that are too what can I say, how can I put it in nice words, they don't use their minds. They don't use their brains, they don't think, and don't use their common sense a little bit. These things do not require high level of knowledge, just a normal brain with a normal common sense. If you do it with control A, it will give you problems, because there are certain imports that have invalid addresses 0000, like this. You see invalid addresses found, and it will not be added. So this is not the correct way. Instead, click on this address so that they are organized in ascending manner, and then all the zero address functions, you do not need them. These are external functions. Okay, now get inside after the first address. See what is given here. There can be many type of functions here, methods here. Basically, there are functions that will return a void type. There are functions that are basically an instance of a class, and there could be these kind of functions that will return something, not void, integer, a float, a byte, a bool, anything like that. And there would be functions that would be a reference to uh, a method inside another namespace, sorry, in another name class. So in this I have added key auth. You already know this. Here the key auth will return a bool value, either true or false, from the license, which will cause the program to load into the main screen after the login screen. So these are all the functions that are inside my application. So you need a little bit of common sense, and if you are a developer, you will know what I'm talking about. See the names here. Okay, this is the private bypass is the name of my namespace. When I'm coding here, uh, the name of my namespace is private bypass, so it is referring to this thing here, private bypass. This is the namespace, and then dot login means this is the method inside the private bypass namespace. This is the method of login. So if there is something like if there is something like, okay, so uh, so what I was talking about is, if you look into the namespace, this is the method login. If you see anything like this CTOR and CCTOR, do not lock these. You don't need to virtualize these functions. These are important, and there is a good reason behind it. I'm sure you don't need to hear it. You are interested in the method only. So now go to step by step we will go forward. This is another method, and inside the method, a close click, this is a firing function. This is a function which is fired after clicking of a button called close. Okay, this is a function that is called when a button is clicked. So obviously this is a method inside this namespace. I will lock all my methods inside the namespace. So I will have to click all these things that are being referred from the login method inside the private bypass namespace. So here CCTOR, I will leave it. I will leave this CTOR also. Now again we know that the dispose function is called when the form is closing. It releases all the memory resources occupied by the application that you are running. So close there. You don't need to virtualize this thing. There is nothing important for people to see here. No memory leaks are here, nothing too important. And initialize component, it initializes the form. There are some parameters in your form that are used by in the initialize function, like the names of the buttons and their locations and their colors, etc. So even if somebody tries to modify it, it won't do any kind of big impact or effect on your program. Okay, now go to the main method. Inside the main method there are these subcalls. I will lock these things, and then there are threads here. I have because I have made my application multi-threaded, there are lots of threads running behind to make it perfect and faster. So you can lock these threads also. So I am selecting all these threads by clicking shift and then clicking with the mouse, and then I'm going to uh, lock all other functions like check firewall, id changer, etc. This is a random function. This is a fixer function, remover, waiter, getter, cleaner. All these functions I am going to lock. Then this is also a threading task, setter function. This is the load function, click function, timer tracker tick function, id function. All these functions, if you have programmed the file yourself, you know that these functions are inside your application and they need to be protected. Again, we encountered the dispose bool function. We don't need to protect it, and we don't need to initialize the component. Now we talked about, I have added Costura to my application to compress the resources and embed all the referenced libraries inside the executable. So these things which are enclosed in the less than and greater than sign symbols, these are references. These are not the actual function. You see that the cheat engine bypass, restore, update, INI, etc. These are already being locked here up. Okay, the ID changer, update, INI, etc. We don't need to lock these functions. These should be left alone. We go down and see something which is not enclosed in the less than and greater than signs. We will lock those functions which are not enclosed in these. So moving forward, here is the main program. By clicking control and clicking with a mouse, I will lock this one too. Now there are other functions here, but these are references from the drawing method, drawing.bitmap method, so we don't need to lock them. And then again go to these functions. These are get gsf, set gsf. These functions should be locked too. These should be avoided, as I told you a little time ago. Now here is the main thing, that if we go to key auth API, we cannot lock it because in the key auth application we have enabled checking for tampering, etc. So we don't need to lock it, but you can lock it if you want. I suggest don't lock it. If somebody gets your secret API key, etc., they won't be able to use it. There is no use. Okay, that information is useless for people. So moving forward, leave all the key auth .api class. We go forward and see if anything else is here. Okay, so this ends the function. I will add all those functions here, and all of these functions will have the virtualization set here already. Then the next step is to go to options and see if you have enabled memory protection. Yes, it should be, because we want our application stronger in memory, and we don't want people to be able to dump it from memory. This is important. Then the import protection should be no. Even if somebody is using imprec in Sela in x64dbg, they will not be able to reconstruct the imports. The resource protection, if you want your resources to be compressed and protected, you can use it, yes, but since I'm using Costura library, it is already protecting the resources. So if I use it yes, the program will get corrupted. So I'm keeping these both no. Do I want to pick the output file? Do I want to compress the file? Yes, I want to compress it. I have enabled it. This is the name of the bypass, the output file that I want. I can use it like secure or something, this thing. Okay, and this is the VM segment that I have added. The debugger is no, the virtualization tools are no. You can add it yes, but I have added anti-debugging library inside my application, so two anti-debugger things cannot run in one time. So if you did not add anti-debugging library, then you have to use this function. Make it yes in user mode and kernel mode both, so it will be beneficial for you. People will not be able to use debugger and debug your application. Virtualization tool, I have made it no, because I don't think somebody would be interested too much to make a virtual space for your application and run it inside the virtual space. It is useless there. It will not run anyhow. Strip debugging information, it should be yes. And then these are custom messages that I have made for people, for kids and noobs. So if they are debugging, they will see debugger dude, you can ask me for source, okay? And if they virtualize my application, they will see virtual machine exclamation mark. If they corrupt my file, they change only a single bit, this thing will be shown, not good bro, virus infection, clean your PC then re-download. This can be two things: a virus will infect the application, or somebody will change the application to get unfair advantage, like use the key forever, etc. They will not be able to do it because we have made application memory protected. All right, these things should be here. And then the last step to do is make sure. Okay, then we will do what? We will compile it. The file will be packed here with underscore secure or whatever you have written. Okay, then you can double click it to see if it is working. Let's wait for it. Yeah, it's working. Now, how do we know that the application is completely secure? For that, we need to open it up with disassemblers, instruction list disassemblers like ilspy, etc. Let the process finish. Immature closing the application will cause errors, and this bypass will not run other time. Okay, so make sure you see done, then you can click exit. All right, then let's see, open it up here. This is the secure version, this is the normal version. Now if we open it up here and go to the main function here, since we already logged the main function, we expect that no body of the method will be shown here. Okay, so no body is shown here, everything is locked, every